Recording.
We're recording. We're broadcasting. We are on. Oh,
Theme song
fading.
That's right. I need a gong. Dong.
Well, gong's a great idea.
Yeah, I gotta sing.
I'll add it to the list.
Okay, good. Woohoo! Excellent. All right, here we are, episode 17 of the Georgee and Patty Show. I am Georgee.
And I'm Patty.
And we are here to share thoughts, opinions, beliefs, all about sales, marketing, being purpose-driven, heart-centered, and whatever else comes up.
Yeah, insert great tagline here.
Exactly.
We're after progress, not perfection at this point.
Exactly. So before we get started today with Patty interviewing me so that you can all get to know a little bit more about the human that I am in my world, I thought I would share a quote of the day. And so the quote of the day is going to be one of my favorite quotes that I typically, it's kind of like my little mantra actually. So it's a Swedish proverb and it goes something like this. Build someone up, put their insecurities to sleep, remind them that they're worthy, tell them that they're magical, and be light in a too often dim world. And it's all yours.
And that quote, in addition to being Georgie's favorite, is also a pretty good description of Georgee herself and what she does. So welcome, Georgee, to being in our interview hot seat today with your amateur interviewer me.
Thank you.
So the reason that I've invited you to have this interview on the show is to let our viewers and our listeners know a little bit more about one of the human beings that shows up every day on this broadcast. And so I have a few questions kind of prepared, but we're going to take this conversation where it goes. And I thought maybe we could start with kind of hopping into the time machine. And seems this is, basically a businessy kind of a show. How about you tell us the story of your very first business?
Okay, the first leap into my entrepreneurial journey. So before getting into kind of entrepreneurship and doing my own thing, I was in insurance and finance, and then I found myself delightfully pregnant, and my intention was I would just go back to work. However, I had this tiny little baby, and he was so incredibly adorable and cute, and I was completely in love. So I was like, there's no way I can leave this baby. It's not happening. So his dad at the time, still the same dad, but anyway, his dad was working as a landscaper at the time for a landscape company. So I was like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to start a landscape company. And I'm like, I will get our customers and you just have to do the work. I knew nothing. I had no clue about how to do this or anything. But in my mind, I was like, okay, how does this work? Well, to build a business, you go door to door. It's what you do, right? That's my belief. So I plopped my little baby in the buggy. Off I went door to door, made these little flyers, and I'm knocking doors. Hi, my name's Georgee. We're a young family. We have a landscape company. Do you need any landscaping done? And that's literally how we started the company. I don't think it hurt that I had this cute little baby in the buggy. Probably, I think more people opened the door seeing this young mom with this baby. But in my mind, that's just what you did, right? You door knocked. So in that first day, I got us our first customer, and then I go home and I'm like, I got you a customer. This is what you have to go do. And he's like, I don't know how to build a retaining wall. I'm like, well, you'll figure it out because I got us a customer. So, and he did.
Did you figure it out?
We figured it out. Retaining wall built. Retaining wall is still standing, I might add. So that's how we started. And we started with residential. And like, a lot of landscape companies, you go seasonal. So we did that. But I was like, I would do whatever it took to be able to stay home and raise this baby. So we did that. And then, seasonals, like, okay, we're working for 10 months. We got no work for 2 months. Well, we got to change that. So now what do we do? So then we switched to year-long contracts. And then we're like, okay, there's probably more money actually in commercial stuff. How do we do commercial? And then it became the exact same thing, but instead of actual, virtual or real life knocking on doors, it was a phone. I was phoning everybody, hi, we're a landscape company. Does your company need landscaping? And we ended up doing all the 7-Elevens in the Lower Mainland, the Petro-Canadas, Pet Ceteras, a bunch of stuff for BC Hydro. So we did a ton of big commercial contracts, but the essence of it was exactly the same. It's just instead of the, person or individual house to house, it was on the phone. And oftentimes both of us, if we were driving by and we would see a commercial space where the landscaping wasn't so good, we always had cards in the car, the truck, in we would go, hi, just noticed that do you need a little landscaping? Could we help? So again, it's that looking for opportunities and not being afraid to just go there. So I'm a door knocker, basically. That's how it all started, door knocking.
Well, from your initial description of, I had no idea how to do it, it sounds like you figured it out pretty quick.
Well, trial and error, right? What worked? Oh, that worked. Oh, that worked. Okay, I'm just going to keep doing that. So that's what I did.
So if you had the magical ability to kind of look back and kind of go back in time and with the knowledge you have now and kind of whisper in the ear of your previous self,
Yeah.
what advice or information would you share with the the Georgee on day one of the landscaping business?
I think maybe having maybe a little more clearer picture, I guess, of where we wanted to go. It's such a funny thing because I often think my own not knowing and ignorance actually really helped me because I didn't know. So there's that piece of not having any information, and that really worked really, really well. Now, as it started getting bigger, I might have wanted maybe a better worker. Maybe the person doing the work could have been a little more, might have been a little bit better, or perhaps probably the better idea would have been to actually assess the strengths and weaknesses of our team and seeing what we needed to make it grow and actually be sustainable faster. I think would have been a better idea, and kind of instead of just sort of, you're doing this and I'm going to do this. And while I was comfortable in that, and he was great in starting it, but really wasn't his super forte, especially with, the monthly maintenance and that kind of stuff, very similar to me. So I think probably assessing the strengths and the weaknesses and the personality types might have been a better idea in getting started. But yeah, that's, I think, would be useful.
This strategy you have of knocking on doors, calling people. You've had other businesses as well, not just the landscaping business, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So same sort of strategy with the others?
Exact same thing. So we had the landscape company. I built a bookkeeping company. I helped build a moving company. I helped had my own personal development kind of company, and then here we are now. Exact same thing. And so with the bookkeeping company, and that just kind of came to be because I was doing the books for our company and having a financial background. And then someone knocked on my door and was like, hey, are you looking for more clients? I'm like, maybe. Or he's like, do you do the books for the landscape company? I was like, yeah. He's like, you looking for more clients? I'm like, maybe. Depends. And he was an accountant, so I started doing work with him. But I was like, I got 2 kids. I have to be able to do it from home. I'm like, this is how this works. He's like, yeah, no problem. And so that started with, he would get some clients that he didn't like, so I would take them. And then I was like, I'm gonna build this thing up. And it was the exact same thing. And back then, Craigslist was really useful for it. So I'd be like, I would respond to every single ad looking for a bookkeeper, didn't care. And then I would get on the phone with them. Hey, yep, can I get a meeting? It's always very much like I do now. Get someone on the phone, and then can I get face-to-face in some way? But oh yeah, I'd be calling all kinds of businesses. And then what I learned with that is tradespeople, so very much like the landscape company, they suck at doing their bookkeeping most of the time, like single solo tradespeople, because they're so busy doing the work that the books get left behind. So I'm like, hi, just curious. I'm a bookkeeper. So exactly the same with the moving company. With the moving company, we decided that we were going to work with helping seniors transition from their homes into like independent living facilities. So it's exactly, I'm calling all the independent living facilities. Hello, hello, hello. And it didn't take long before we had 3 big contracts. And the guy, my partner, he's like, you got to stop calling people because we don't have the staff. We can't do this. You got to stop. I was like, all right, well, so then I just helped move. And then I would be customer service with our clients and stuff like that. So yeah, my strategy, now that you say it, has been exactly the same through everything. The successful strategies. Yeah. It's people, it's relationships. It's like, hey, I got this thing. I'm not sure you might want it, but here's what it looks like. Yeah.
So this is from my perspective. Every time I listen to you talking about all of this stuff, I have a little voice in the back of my head that goes, yep, Georgee can do that. There's no way I can pull it off. What is it that keeps you kind of so fearless about picking up the phone and talking to people?
I think it's a couple things. I think, like, if I look in the beginning, again, it was that ignorance of not knowing, and my intention of, I am going to stay home with this baby and I will do whatever it takes. So that drive was way bigger than any fear I might have had. And because I just didn't know, so I was like, oh, this is what you do. Okay, I go do that. Fine. And then later I thought, okay, I want to build, because that's what people say, right? I want to be a millionaire. I want to build a millionaire company. Okay. I'm like, I have no clue how to do that. Who knows how to do that? Millionaires know how to do that. So I'm like, okay, who is a millionaire that I can reach out to? And so I was like, I know, I got somebody. So my kid's dad's grandmother, her name was Wendy McDonald, and she was the owner of BC Bearings. And she was, at one point, I think the 5th richest woman in Canada. So I was like, she probably knows. So I call her up. I go, and I think I made the association that really successful people are humans too. So then I was like, okay, I got her idea. Now I'm going to find me some more. And if she talked to me, why wouldn't anybody else talk to me? Because they're just humans. So if you're a human and you can talk to a human, I believe any human will talk to you. If you're honest and if you make those connections. So I started calling people and I'd be like, hi, my name is Georgee. I want to build a successful business and I feel like I'm missing some stuff. Can I have 15 minutes of your time to ask you some questions? Nobody told me no. So I was like, okay, great. Here I would go, or I'd be on the phone, or I'd go and visit them. And they were super welcoming. So I think it's that just really being honest. And if you can get yourself into, because there's nothing special about me. Like, I don't have this magic skill that allows, I'm not like a human whisperer or whatever you want to call it, you know. I think it's just about getting yourself to that place that if you're a human and you talk to humans, then other humans will talk to you. You know, it's, yeah.
It's a belief you have.
It's a huge belief. It's exactly. Yeah. And I set myself up to validate that belief, right? And we realistically, I think we all know people that we know that we could reach out to. Like, yeah, I had my, grandmother-in-law, whatever you want to call it. And I wasn't very close to her though. So we all have people, I think, that also can create that little safe gap into, okay, now I'm just going to attach, well, they're all like that. Okay, cool. And then I find another one and another one. And I think even when I decided that I wanted to do, like I was going to move into sort of coaching and training, and I wanted to do corporate workshops and things like that. So I was like, okay, where can I go? Like this is literally my thought process all the time. Where can I go? Who might need what I have? So, okay, my background was insurance, finance, ICBC. ICBC, they could totally use me for sure. So then I'm like, okay, cool. So then I go to the ICBC thing, I'm looking through the directory and I'm like, holy creeps, there's like so many people that work at ICBC. So then I'm frustrated because I'm impatient and I'm like, president, I'm just calling him. I don't think I thought he would answer the phone, but he did answer the phone. So I stumble my way through, hi, my name's Georgie. I do this thing. I'm just curious. Do you guys do trade? Like just totally bumble the crap out of it. He's like, yes, we do, but I'm not the person you need to talk to. You need to speak to Sarah Miller. I'll never forget it. I was like, okay, great. Can I have her number? Sure. Gives me your number. Now, when I call Sarah and I say, hey, Sarah, the president just told me I should call you. What do you think happens? She's pretty open, right? So, but same kind of thing. And I think often it's just because, it's not because I thought it out, it's because I was frustrated. And I'm like, this is annoying. Okay, someone's got to know. And, you know, what's the worst he's going to say? No, hang up, not answer. So, yeah.
So we have a question here in the chat.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago, you mentioned this idea that you had this belief and then you kind of set things up to validate that. Can you explain a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we actually do this quite unconsciously a lot of times, like, because if we have a belief that we really hold, we start looking for things to verify that and things to validate it. I think always, right? And the more it's like the car thing, right? Oh, I all of a sudden thinking about, I want a yellow beetle car. And then we start seeing them everywhere. So I think it happens unconsciously as well. But I think if we kind of know, so let's say that you're listening to this now and you're like, okay, I believe that for me to be successful or to build my business or to make cold calls or talk to people, whatever it is, I want to believe that all humans are good humans. So if I wanted to implement that, I might start looking for people who I believe are a good human. It might be that I know them and they might be a little out of my reach, but I want to set myself up for success in that way, because the more of those people I talk to, I get more evidence that it's true, more evidence that it's true, more evidence that it's true. Then if I hit one that's a little bit not so nice, let's say, or open, I'm like, that's an anomaly, because I've got so much proof that this one over here works for me. And I think we can look back through our lives for lots of different things if we take the time to do it, right? Like like if I think of a lot of the beliefs I hold, I really believe that just about anything is possible, you know? And that's often when someone will say to me, you can't do that, Georgie. Like, are you crazy? Maybe, but I always believe I find a way. And I look back and I'm like, oh, I have evidence that I did it here, and I did it here, and I did it here. And people said I couldn't, or that I was crazy, but I'm like, so nope, I have proof. So I'm constantly looking for ways to validate things for me. And I think we can do that intentionally, especially if it's something you really want. I think it's just, you know, okay, how can I set this up? Where can I find the people that are going to help me validate that? Or can I do certain things that prove to myself, oh yeah, that is possible. That is possible. So that's kind of, you know, like I say, I think we do it all the time, not even knowing it, especially if it's something like an unconscious belief we have. We're always looking to validate it. As soon as something happens, oh, yep, I knew I wasn't good enough. Yep, I knew they wouldn't answer the phone. Yep, I knew it. Well, what if it's just something you've cemented through ways of doing things? So change it. Set it up.
So would it be fair to say then that if you're going in looking to validate this belief that people will pick up the phone, that what you're paying attention to is the people who pick up the phone and you're kind of disregarding the people who don't?
Totally. Yeah.
It's like it never happened.
But, well, yeah, exactly. I have short-term memory for things I don't want to remember. Yeah. Huh. And then I can also, like, because I'm creating everything anyway, right? So if someone picked up the phone, let's say they were a little short, I'll go to, oh, they were probably having a really bad day. I just probably caught them at a bad moment. Maybe, I'm just going to maybe send them a little email and just say thanks anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I will justify to what I want all day long, because they're the anomaly. Because I know nice people pick up the phone, and there's tons of them. People answer the phone. Like I have so much proof that they do that, it doesn't matter what people say to me. I'm like, I know they do.
You build a bridge to that in a moment. One of the questions or suggestions that we had for this interview is people wanted to know a little bit more about kind of how we met and how this all started, and it began, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago in June.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that I attended your why workshop, and you were known as the why. You did the why stuff.
My why thing.
Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about doing the why stuff and what you believe about why and where all that came from?
Yeah. So for everyone who knows me, I love the why, and that would be in relation to Simon Sinek's start with why discovery kind of thing. So how that came to be was I love the work of Simon Sinek. Like I think he's great. And so I had bought his online why discovery course. I sort of did it, not really, hadn't finished it, blah, 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 got myself locked out of it. And then Simon was coming to Vancouver for a TED Talk. So I thought, I'm going to go to TED because I want to hear Simon. Did not know that you have to apply to be in the audience of TED. So not TEDx, but like TED. So I was like, okay, go there. It's like 40 grand or something to go. I'm like, oh, that ain't happening. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me think about this. So then I see Simon's giving a talk in Seattle for $5. I'm like, I'm going to Seattle for Simon's talk. So then I'm really trying to get in there and finish that why thing, but I couldn't because the password reset, nothing was working, right? So I go there, I hear Simon talk, he's signing my books and stuff, and I'm like, hey, I kind of got a technical question. He's like, okay. I'm like, I bought your thing, I really would love to finish it, and I'm locked out, the password's not working. He's like, oh, that's not good. I'm like, yeah. He goes, we'll fix it. So he gives me his contact information and his assistant's contact information. Now in my mind, I'm going, he have no clue what you just did. Like, this is so easy. But I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. So go home, I email, get everything fixed back up, finish the online thing. And then I was like, this is literally the most transformational thing I have ever done in my entire life. And it should never be taught online. It's almost impossible to do by yourself, like so hard. This shouldn't have taken me 2 years to finish. What the heck? So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I want to teach this. Like, this is just a given. So hit the email, and I'm like, hey, I got some questions about, and at that time they had this thing, there's a little thing in their website about being a facilitator or something. So I was like, I've got questions about this. And at that time, his name was Steven Shedletsky. He emailed me back because he was just customer service there, whatever. He's like, okay. He goes, well, what questions do you have? And I was like, I'm more of a phone person than an email person. Can we talk on the phone? He's like, well, my schedule's really busy. It's probably going to be like 3 weeks before I can get on the phone with you. I was like, no problem. I'll wait. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, what's your number? So I give him my number. Literally 5 minutes, my phone rings. I'm like, I don't recognize this number. I'm like, hello? He's like, hi, Georgie. I'm calling from Simon's team. You sent me an email. What's your questions? I was like, oh, okay, blah. And I'm like, this is what I think. I took your thing. It took me 2 years to do it. I think this thing should be taught in real life, and I want to teach it. He's like, okay. Okay. And then they call us back and they're like, okay, you could teach it, but we don't have a workbook. I'm like, I'll make a workbook. And at that time, all I wanted to do was, because I didn't feel like I could teach it, I just wanted to play Simon's videos, play the online course, and I would just help people go through it. So they're like, okay, you can do that. I was like, okay, cool, great, awesome. And then I'm like, well, cool. So have a few more conversations back and forth, get that all set up. I start doing my thing. And because I'm not confident, I was like, but I don't want to charge what you guys are charging, by the way. I want to do it. That's just, which they were charging $200. Okay. And I'm like, too much. So I didn't start there, right? What makes me comfortable? So do that. So then it progresses. And then Stephen actually came to Vancouver and he was like, I'm doing a private talk. Do you want to come? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'd love to come. And I'm phoning, I call it Simon Land. I'm phoning Simon Land after every one I'm doing. I'm like, this is what's happening. This is not working for, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So Stephen comes to Vancouver. I go watch his thing. And then he's like, okay, Georgie, he goes, I need you to make me a promise. And I was like, what's that? He goes, the next one you do, I want you to ditch the videos. I want you to just teach this. He goes, you know this probably better than anybody. Like, just teach it. So I was like, okay, I will. And I did. And he was right. It was way better, not because I'm better at teaching it, but it was better because it was, again, that human interaction. So now I'm like, okay. So that's how it started. And then I just started doing why discoveries was anytime anyone would let me, really, I would do them. And back and forth with Simon Land being like, here's what's happening, here's what's going on, all those kinds of things. And it just, for me, it was that thing that if I had a magic wand and I could wave it over the entire world, everyone in the whole world would do the why discovery. You know, so I think that's why I just came to know that you're that why thing. But it was the same thing, right? With phoning Simon and his team and all those kinds of things, it was that drive that, oh my God, people need this. So I didn't have time to think about, I'm scared to pick up the phone and call. And I'm like, plus I have your number, I'm calling. You gave it to me. So I didn't even have, I don't think the fear didn't have time to register, because what I wanted and why I wanted it was so much bigger. And honestly, when I called and when I was actually talking, I thought, it didn't even enter my mind they would say no. It was like, how are we going to do this? What was in my mind? I'm like, this is happening and we're just going to figure out how to do it. I'll pay whatever. I didn't care, which I didn't pay anything. But so I think there's that piece of it too, right? Where it's just when you know and following the knowing and doing it quickly. Like I often, when I have those flashes of genius, let's call them, or just not knowingness, I typically don't wait. I'm like, I think so before the fear can catch up to me, I've already got the phone in my hand and it's ringing, and fear probably sets in when they're like, hi. And I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, hi. And then I'm just, right into it. So some people say I make decisions too quickly. However, for me, when it's in that sense of knowingness, it's worked for me. So again, I have proof that when I know what that feeling is and I act on it, it works. It's very much like how we work together, right? Hey, do you want to do something? We should do something together. Okay, let's do, it's very much, it feels right. It's alignment. I know you have what I don't, and we can do amazing things together. I'm going for it. I think I answered the question, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's how the why thing started. And then you ended up in one of my why workshops.
So it's your interview, so I won't talk about my experience in the why workshop.
Oh,
however,
you can.
No.
Let me take a sip of my coffee.
You can ask me about it next week if you want.
Oh, okay, I will. Okay.
But when you're talking about this idea about being in alignment, does it truly start with why?
Yes, for me, it absolutely does. And so for me, like when I discovered my why, which is to inspire people to take action to create the life they really, 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 really want, it literally becomes part of my decision-making filter. So, and I think that's also why things move, when I make decisions, they move quickly for me, because someone will present, say, an opportunity or something comes up, or do I want to do something? For the first, and it's so happens so quickly now, it's like, will this allow me to inspire people to take action to create the life they really, really want? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. I'm probably in. Now let me run it through my values. Da-da-da. Yes or no? Okay. Right. So it absolutely guides every single thing I do. Everything. Without question. And having it has made everything easier. Like so much easier with it. So yeah, I always start with why. Always. Yeah, no question. That's why everybody should do it. And I don't care if you do it with me. I don't care if you do it online. I don't care if you do it with, I don't care where you do it with. You know, I just really believe it's such a strong piece of having that lighthouse, that guiding light, that North Star of, and it's in everything that I do, right? Like even when I'm having conversations with my kids or, you know, with my friends, am I coming from that place where I'm actually inspiring them to take action for what they really, really want? Or often if there's a disconnect, am I just trying to shove my own crap down their throat? I'm probably not in alignment. But when I'm in alignment, it's beautiful. It's magic. That's why I believe everybody's magical. Because you are.
So you mentioned just a moment ago that part of that alignment is about your values.
Yes.
You expand a little bit more on values and how they contribute to alignment.
Yes. So I think yesterday I mentioned that I believe there's two kinds of values, right? So there's self-transcending values, which are values that are bigger than myself. And then there's self-actualizing values, which are values that are really more central to just me kind of thing. Like my health is my own value kind of thing. Like I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for somebody else. It's all about me. So the values that I typically run, say, my filters through are more of those self-transcending values. And then when I have those values, I turn them into verbs. So they're an action that I can look at, and basically it's a yes. Did I do it? Yes or no? And it's so funny because I have by my desk here, I'll show you, I have this little sheet that it has my why on it, it has my values on it, just as a reminder of what they are, so that at the end of the day I can go, okay, let's see. So my top one of those is love. And for me, that means I treat people like they matter. So I can say in any interaction with someone else, did I treat that person like they mattered? Did I create an environment where they felt like they mattered? Yes or no? Often if I'm in a disagreement with someone, probably didn't do so well on that one, right? The next one that I have is all about kind of community and relationships, right? And that's about nurturing relationships, building new connections, having fun. Am I doing that? Making great memories. Did I do those things? Yes or no? Again, often if I'm having a disagreement or there's some tension, was I nurturing that relationship? Probably not. Probably could have done a better job there. Contribution is a big one for me. So I'm always in service. I'm always providing value. Was I doing that? Did I do that today? Yes or no? Freedom. So did I provide freedom of choice and possibilities? Yes or no? Again, if I'm in those situations where I'm like, my opinion's right, you're not doing what I want, and I'm all on my self-righteous high horse, no, not a chance am I in alignment with that, you know? And then openness, where am I meeting people where they're at? Instead of trying to push them higher, push them lower, did I meet you right where you're at with what you needed, right? And I think you can see that a lot today with, you know, we want to offer advice, and we want to fix people, and we want to tell people what to do. And sometimes people don't want that. They just need someone to just be there. So for me, if I take those values, I turn them into actionable verbs, I know exactly what to do. And like I say, at the end of the day, I can say, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. And then if I'm not super, you know, triggered or whatever you want to call it, I can look at it in the moment and be like, oh, there's a problem here. Let me just quickly run through these things and see, am I doing it or not? And then if I'm looking at an opportunity, will this opportunity allow me to create environments where people feel like they matter, meet people where they're at, you know, all of those things? Does this allow me to build new connections and nurture relationships? Can I provide possibilities here and give people freedom of choice? Yes or no? If I can show up like that, I'm in. If not, I'm out. And that's okay, right? Because this is just what I know when I'm in alignment. This is what works for me. That's why I think values are such a really, really, really big deal. And taking the time to really turn them into those actions and those verbs for yourself. And then let's just create your life and your business around that.
So, I gather from conversations that we've had, including like right before we hopped on this call this morning, that these values have been your values for a long time.
Yes. I think that a lot of them come from, like, I want to say like forever. I think some of them are the things that are part of the origin of who I am, you know, and I just keep bringing them with me, and they get clearer and clearer and clearer. But yeah, they're there. And I'm open to going, is there a time when these won't serve me? So far, that hasn't happened yet. So far, they've been, I know when I'm synced in with like just that knowingness of who I am, these are the things that I don't say make me who I am, but they're very much what, you know, my personality comes from these, how I show up comes from these things. When I'm in alignment, when I'm out, it's about the opposite of all that stuff. You know, seriously. but definitely I feel like I was born with them, which sounds kind of weird, but I feel like yeah, that's how it came to be.
I really want you to share the insight that you shared with me this morning about high school.
Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, because even in when I look at like at my why and stuff like that, right, and I look at being in high school, I was friends with all the different kind of groups of people, right, but I am a champion for the underdog, for the misfit. Like, please let me in there, because I just really want people to create the life that they want, to be who they are, to just step into that, you know, because that is what's beautiful and amazing. And I think when I look at the whole world, it's all of the differences, all of the different kinds of people and the different personalities and the quirkiness and the weirdos and the, you know, the people that don't fit in. These are the things that make our world beautiful. These are the things that give us texture. You know, I'm thinking, can you imagine if everybody was like the Barbie, like what society has said is this is how it's supposed to be? How boring, you know, and so much energy trying to be who we're not. But whenever we show up in that magnificence of who we are, and I mean, I love quirky, I love weird, I love interesting, I love getting to see people for who they are. And I think that's what, when I talk about creating these environments where people feel like they matter, it's really about creating that space for people to step into who they actually are. You know, it's like, I love it. And I've been like that, I think, my whole life. Like, yeah, if I'm on the bus and I see someone alone, I'm going to be the one that's like, hey, here I go over there, you know, I'll sit with you. Tell me more about you. Because I find people super interesting. And it's not the people that are doing their best to fit into societal norms. That's fine. But I want the people who are doing different, you know, because that's super cool to me. So yeah, I'm the underdog champion. I'm the one rooting for people. I'm the one that's going to be like, oh, you want to do that, but you don't think you can do that, but you want to do that? Let's figure out how to do it. Because nothing excites me more than seeing someone do something they think they couldn't do. Because when you do that, so many possibilities open up to you. Like, it's one of my absolutely most favorite things. It's like, woohoo! So I'm like the biggest champion cheerleader on the planet for that. And people are like, oh, here she comes again. But yeah, here I come again, right? Like, I'm the one with we do fundraiser things, you know, I'm the one with the light up pigtails and the, like, whatever. I don't care. That'll be me. Because it's fun. And I like variety and doing whatever, right? And not having to fit into a box. So yeah, bring on the misfits.
That's a perfect segue for the question we have in the chat right now. So speaking of quirky weirdo misfits, want to know how did Patty came back Georgee, and how did the partnership evolve?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's what's really funny is I don't even think of you as a misfit, but you know, I think it like, so for you have the strengths that I don't have. You know, it's like when if I look at my business stuff, it's you've got the systems and you slow things down and putting all those different processes together, making the words sound right, you know, the marketing and that stuff that I don't have, because I'm like, ah! And because I do tend to make decisions quickly. I get lots of brilliant ideas. And I find Patty grounds me. Patty creates that space. She has really great questions without stopping the ideas or the flows and the excitement that I get. But Patty asks me questions that let me think about the idea. And I'm like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Oh yeah, that's cool. Oh right. Oh yeah. Oh right. You're right. Right. So, and she does it in a way that allows me to be me. You know, and I think that's what works so well. And she has really, really great questions, where I often am a little bigger picture excitable. She creates that space and that gap for me and slows it down for me to think. And she, like I say, she has all the system stuff in place, which is great. She's got the spreadsheet. She's got the words where I'll be like, I don't know how to do this. Give me the words. Okay, good. I'm good. I'll go. Right. So I think it's such our person. I think we offset each other, or balance each other with the personalities that we have, you know, but oh yeah, my business is a gazillion times better because of what she brings to the table. For like, no question. Like there's together we can help people in a way I could never help them by myself, ever. Like ever. So it's yeah. I want to inspire people to take action to create the life they really, really, really want. I need her to do that, because I don't have the skills she has, or the thoughts that she has, or any of those things. So yeah, it's freaking amazing.
I'll just throw my 2 cents in here too. It's you know, from my perspective, it's like the same thing. It's like Georgee completes me. And that's kind of how we work with our clients too. We both bring different skills and perspective to the people that we work with. And it's one of the interesting things about the way we work with clients is it's like one client, 2 coaches, which is really interesting. And maybe you could explain a little bit about kind of like what you do with people. Like what's your side of our coaching arrangement when they are in your care?
So when you're in my care, I'll teach you how to talk to people, for sure. And then how do you have those sales conversations? How are you able to really listen to people, tune into people, see what it is that people want? You know, when we're doing our level 1 stuff, it really is about crafting those conversations and reaching out to people. How do I reach out to the people I want to find and be able to talk to them and build those connections? And you know, really a lot of what I do is that people side of things, for sure. You know, and then as you move into kind of level 2, of course, we're going to bring in the why and the values and what are the things that really, really matter to you, and how can we craft this business that's going to fit this life that you want, that's in alignment with who you really are. And then when you forget, I'm going to be the person that's going to remind you. I'm going to remind you of who you really are at your core and why you're really here on this planet and how what you do really, really matters. You know, like I get messages from our clients. They're like, I'm having a meltdown. I need to talk to you. I need a little more motivation or here or there, right? And it's because I'm going to remember all of those things that make you brilliant and magnificent and wonderful and amazing. And I'm going to push you a little bit or a lot to be like, the world needs you. Okay, what do we got to do to get you out there? Because the world absolutely needs you. So that's kind of that's kind of what I do with our people. I'm going to help you connect with people, have the conversations, and remind you when you forget how brilliant you are.
And can I just say that I am so incredibly grateful that you are there to help our clients when they melt down. Because I have the emotional connection capacity of Dr. Spock, or not Dr. Spock, Spock on Star Trek, right? It's like, that is not logical. It is not logical that you are crying right now.
Stop that. There's no crying in marketing.
So when they cry, they go to George, and they know, right? You just like text me, and Georgie will hop on. You'll hop on the phone with people in between sessions to help them out of a spinning meltdown.
Exactly, because I know that odds are within 15 minutes I can have you back on track, and I think that's what we offer, right? I would way rather you text me and say, I'm struggling right now, and I would way rather get on a call with you, have you back on track in 15 minutes than have you wait a week or 3 days or whatever to be stuck in that space. Like, yeah, let's move it. Let's get forward. Because sometimes we just forget. You know, we get overwhelmed by life and things that are happening, and we forget. So I'm just a reminder. That's it. That's all I do. Like, you know, just remind people when you forget.
We have a couple of minutes left. Do we have any more questions? Anyone want to ask a question? I don't have the Facebook thing. Do you have any questions on Facebook?
Let me see. I have a lot of waves. Waves. No one wants to know. Anyone have questions on Facebook?
Nobody has questions.
No one wants to know. Let's see. Any other interesting non-business or business related questions you might have? Happy to answer whatever you got, whatever you want. That's for sure. Oh, hello. People are waving. People are waving on Facebook, which is nice, which is really, really cool.
We've got some biographical information. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What's that background?
Okay, so I was born in Roanoke, Virginia. When I was 6 months old, we moved to Texas. My parents, all my family is from Texas. My dad was in the military, which is why they were in Virginia when I was born. So I grew up in Texas, and then my dad now is a preacher. And so when I was 14, he'd gone to preaching school in Dallas, Texas. And a lot of the people in his preaching school were from British Columbia. So my parents often said if they ever found a place where the ocean met the mountains, that's where they would move to. So when I was 14, we moved from Dallas, Texas to Powell River, British Columbia. And let me tell you, culture shock. Big city, tiny town, 2 ferries to get in and out. Crazyville. Absolutely, Crazyville. I did not realize that I had an accent until I moved to Canada. However, I am from Texas. I had a very Southern Texas accent at the time. I learned lots of different things, and I think actually it was that move also that enabled me to learn a lot more compassion and empathy for people, because it was definitely a challenging transition at being 14 and making such a huge move away from my entire family. Just my mom, my dad, my sister moved there. So lots of interesting insights there. And then when I turned 18, I moved to Vancouver right away. Woohoo, here I am. So now I've been here forever, basically. My sister's still in Powell River, and my parents are back in Texas. So kind of a full circle-y kind of thing. So you get,
And in terms of, we never did talk about this. You've got like certifications and coaching tools and stuff like that, programs, stuff that you
Oh
do.
yeah, stuff I do. Yeah. So I'm a master practitioner of NLP. I've done certified coaching courses, business coaching, that kind of stuff. I've done Reiki. I do all kinds of things. Yeah, facilitating the why, doing the coaching, and working mainly now is with you, of course, because I love it. And that's what we do. And it's funny, even when I think about how I even got into coaching and the NLP stuff and all that, it was very much where I hit a point in my life where I was like, landscaping's great and bookkeeping's great and all that, but I really, really wanted to do I just felt drawn to, I need to do something that made a bigger difference, something that was really going to matter in the world. And like I kind of do, I guess, I start looking for who knows something, who can help me. And we had a family friend, Lynn Robinson, who I didn't even know what she did, but I was pretty sure she did something that was kind of along those lines. And so I called her and I was like, hey, I'm at this point and I really feel like I need to do something different. I need to make an impact in the world. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, isn't that, you kind of do that kind of stuff? Like, what is it? She goes, well, as it turns out, actually, I have a course. She partnered up with a coaching program thing, but she was going to be teaching NLP, and then there was a coaching, how to be a coach component to it. I was like, okay. She goes, it starts in 3 days. I'm like, I'm in. I have no clue what it was, but I'm like, I'm in. So that was my first experience with like NLP and coaching. And it was, again, life-changing, right? Totally, completely life-changing. So I did that. I did my NLP practitioner, then I did master practitioner. And then I actually started an online coaching program at that time. And that was before there was no video. So I had a group of women and it was called Power Up. And I did a group coaching through like phone and chat thing. And that's how I started that. And that's been so impactful. And it's kind of the basis of pretty much everything I do is sort of built on that. And then just continuing with different personal development courses, lots of reading, lots of learning. How can I bring this brand, bring this in, bring this in? So it's a learning, sharing, learning, sharing, learning, sharing. But yeah.
So those of us who are not overly familiar with it, can you give us some NLP on a nutshell, what it is and what it does for people?
Yeah. So NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. So neuro is basically your mind. Linguistics are the words that you speak. Programming is the programs that we're running in our head. And basically what NLP does is it helps you kind of break down your patterns of how you're operating in the world, what you see in the world, all kind of through linguistics. So what are your beliefs? What are your values? What's happening really underneath what's coming out and what you're saying, so that you can actually become more in alignment with who you're meant to be, what you really want. I think it's pretty amazing. And it's simple, and it helps you, it's a really communication model, right? It helps you communicate with yourself, and it helps you communicate with other people, right? It helps you be able to more clearly understand where other people are coming from. I think it also, for me, builds a lot of compassion and empathy, because there's a lot of different beliefs and stuff around it where you're, people are, people really are doing the best they can. And now let me just see if I can understand them a little bit better. And I believe NLP allows us to understand people a little bit better. It helps us to, build stronger beliefs, the beliefs that are going to support us, get rid of the beliefs that aren't maybe serving us so well, and build strategies to be more successful and show up kind of in more excellence, as they say. So that's kind of my version of the nutshell of it and how I use it.
I'm wondering if it's related to this question that we have right now. Your drive and fearlessness are inspiring. How do we build these traits within ourselves?
Oh, totally. I think it's, honestly, I think the first thing is getting really, really clear about who you are. And I think that comes down to, finding your why, knowing what your values are, and what are the things that really, really matter to you. And once you can get clear on those things, and then we actually look at, okay, so if that's who I am and what I really like, what would I believe as that person? What are the beliefs that I would hold? Okay, got those. And, you know, we do this, I've done this with some of our clients too, where we look at our identity. Who would I be? And you can almost create that superhero. So if you were your own superhero, who would you be? What are the traits? What are the qualities? What are the characteristics of her or him? You know, and so we start to step into those things, and that's absolutely a lot of what I do is with NLP. And there's a fellow by the name of Robert Dilts who has something called the logical levels of change, which I think we're going to talk about on one of our calls, which really helps to align you with those things. But I think the biggest piece is, like I say, the why was huge for me, and knowing who I am at my core. And when things start falling apart, what are the things I need to do to make sure I'm back in alignment with that? Because trust me, my life is falling apart. And sometimes it takes me a little longer to come back into, okay, here I am. But when I'm there, I'm there. And until I know those things, it's more challenging for me to come back into it. So it's funny because I don't really think of myself as fearless, or, you know, yeah, it's an interesting thing, because I can think, well, there's lots of times when I've been really afraid, but then I look into, okay, what did I do to overcome those things? You know, like I think of, I really, really, really wanted to do this endurance event, like really, like for a long time, I wanted to try an endurance event. And so I'm like, but in my mind, endurance events are full of athletes, like real athletes, and I am not a real athlete. So those kinds of, I'm like, I'm scared, totally scared. And so then, but really, really wanting to. And then I think, I'm like, okay. So then I see this endurance event come up, and the person that is putting the event on, they actually won a contest that I did through my company. So I was like, okay, let me call them. Here the same procedures I think I do with everything. Hi, Mikey, it's Georgie. So I see you're doing this event. So tell me a little bit about it. And so it was a 6-hour event where you did this. It was like, I think almost a 2-kilometer loop, but you go up, like there's like 300 stairs up or 400 stairs up and down. And anyway, you do this loop. How many loops can you do in 6 hours? So I'm like, hey, Mikey. So again, looking for things I can reference. Compared to the grouse grind, how hard is it? Because I'm like, I can do the grind. I don't like it, but I can do it. He's like, well, he goes, it's not going to feel as bad as the grind the first time, but the more times you do it, it'll get harder. I was like, okay. He goes, but Georgie, he goes, just come. Just do one loop and then sit in the parking lot and drink beer with us. I was like, okay. Well, I'm sure I could do one loop. I have 6 hours to do one loop. I know I could do that. And I feel I have someone on my side. There's someone to support me. Okay, someone's got my back. So even if I'm a little bit scared, I can draw a little bit of courage from Mikey. Okay, cool. So I go. And then I'm like, because I need a little more support because I'm scared. So I phone my friend Sophie, and I'm like, would you drive for me? Because it was over on Sunshine Coast, because I don't know if I'll be able to walk after. So will you drive for me? And I just need some moral support. So I've got some support in line for me. Off I go. I do the thing. Go all 6 hours, do my thing. And it was awesome. And everybody was so freaking nice. So now belief set in, right? All endurance athletes are so nice. These ultra endurance athletes, they are the nicest people ever. So I volunteer for a few events. What do I notice? All endurance athletes are so nice. They are so kind, and they are so helpful and so supportive. I'm like, this is amazing. So my friend, his birthday comes up. He loves this fellow by the name of James Lawrence, who's the Iron Cowboy. The Iron Cowboy, the show's on Netflix. He did 50 Ironmans in 50 days. So all endurance athletes are nice, and they want to talk to you. What could I give my friend for his birthday? Wouldn't it be cool if the Iron Cowboy called him on his birthday? Hi, James. My name is Georgie. My friend Matthew's coming up and he's training for an Ironman. He really likes you. Would it be possible for you to call him on his birthday? Hey, Georgie. Let me check my schedule. I don't think I could call him on his birthday, but what if I recorded a birthday video for him? Would that be okay? Hell yeah, that'd be okay. Why? Because all endurance athletes are nice and they support people and they want to help you. So what did he do? He recorded a video for Matthew for his birthday. So these are just ways that, like, the things that I'm saying that literally I make up. It's all made up. I'm making stuff up in my brain all the time, but it supports where I want to go and what I want to do, right?
Awesome.
Ooh, there's a question on Facebook.
Yes. We're also just going to note that we are over time.
Okay, I'll answer this question quickly. What have you recently reversed your views or opinions on that you didn't expect? Oh my goodness. So many things. I do like to be right quite a lot, you know, and I would say that's one of my, I'm stubborn. I'm really stubborn, and I'm really, I have my moments where I can be extremely righteous. And so even if I look at the, like the why, like I often think sometimes that the only way to do something would be, you've got to do your why, you've got to find your purpose, and you have to do it Simon's way. It's not necessarily true. There's probably many ways to be able to find that, you know, for sure. I'm trying to, I know there's so many. I'm trying to come up with like something that might even be a little bit more relative to that.
Using the why as a marketing message.
Oh, that's a really good one. That's really good. Thank you. So for those of you who've been following me for a long time, where I'd be telling you that when you're creating your information and stuff, you start with why. So you tell people, you know, on your marketing stuff is that I inspire people to take action, create the life you really, really want. And really, people aren't coming to me, or they might be coming to me for that, but what they're actually looking for originally is not that. It's like the computer thing, right? Apple's thing is about disrupting the status quo. People don't first buy from Apple because of the status quo. They're looking for a computer. I would have argued that point all day long. Nope. Wrong, 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 wrong. And actually, until working with Patty, I'd probably still be arguing it. Nope, 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 nope. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That's not how you do it. Those kinds of things for sure. There's so many things that I've said would never happen to me, and then they happen to me. So I do my best not to say that anymore. And I think where I would often maybe get judgmental and stuck about my opinions of how people should be based on, you know, things from how I was raised growing up or whatever, those things have blown out of the water, which I think now, you know, is there a right way to do a business? No, I think there's lots of ways to do a business. Is there the right personal development program? No, I think there's lots of personal development programs. Do I think, you know, you have to get married and have children? No, I don't think you have to do that either. And even if I, you know, just as religious beliefs and things that I held that were so true, do I think that's true now? Nope, I don't. I think there's lots of ways to do different things. So I think a lot of my core kind of growing up fundamental beliefs have been shaken a bit. And so now where I used to be stuck in this is how it is, I like to hold the belief now that there's no belief I have now that can't be changed. I'm open to it being changed because there's so much information, and I want to come from that framework of, I don't know, what's possible. Because there's too many times where I dig in and I get new information and I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. So I think so I can't even think of all of them, but I think there's so many things where that have shifted.
I love that about you. That because personally, I believe that it's a really strong mark of intelligence that you can change your mind and shift when you get new information. And if I had one wish for society, is that we would see that as a positive trait, because we grow and evolve as human beings. This is what we do. So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and insights with us today. I think you're so awesome. I think we should do this show together.
I think we should do a show together too. Yay! Let's do it. Decide today. Okay. Perfect. People laugh. Literally, I have a few collaborations going on, and literally they take about 20 or 30 minutes. And it's like, yeah, we're doing it. So, yeah. Thank you for staying on. I know I do tend to talk a lot. When you get me going, it's like a wind-up doll. Can't turn it off.
Oh, well, we'll get you going again tomorrow.
Yay!
Tomorrow we're going to talk about opinions and advice and how to pick the good from the bad based on you, and what will work best. More permission slips coming up.
Yay!
Have a great day.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.